Hi guys, it's Shell, Sunbury Housewives. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to our channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see future videos. Today I am working on a really fun tumbler for my good friend MJ. And I am using this tumbler that I got forever ago at Amazon, and I just didn't know what to do with it. I thought it was a really pretty color, and it came with this really cool lid that just screws on, and I really liked the color, so there was that. I'd already tried the lid because I wanted to see if it would work with the already color on it, and there's the lid. I'm using the tack it method today, and I was hoping that I didn't have to paint it a different color, so I'd already tried the lid off camera. So I'm going ahead and sanding down the tumbler, but just roughing it up because I don't want to have to repaint this, of course, and wiping it down with rubbing alcohol. So once that's dry, I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to apply the tack-it. So I go ahead and grab my tack-it, put it in a little medicine cup, and water it down just a little bit less than 50-50, because I don't want to put too much. And I am so sorry. I was watching back one of my videos and I say way too much. So the next time you want to play a game, just take a drink every time I say So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put a thin coat all over the tumbler, making sure that I don't have that many streaks because that will show up. So I try to eliminate as many streaks as possible. Once I get this completely coated, I'm going to take my heat gun and dry it faster because I'm impatient. Once that's dry, I'm going in with my second coat and doing the same exact thing, making sure that I don't have any streaks in it. And the second coat is just to ensure any spots that I may have missed that I do. There's that again. Darn it, I'm so sorry. Just completely get this tumbler completely coated. Once that is completely coated again, I do go in with my heat gun and dry this down. The tack-it will not completely dry. I mean, it'll dry, but it'll stay tacky. So then I take the mermaid scales from the Glitter Heart Company. Love this stuff. It's gorgeous. And I sprinkle it all over the tumbler. I just go ham on it, just sprinkling it everywhere. Now I set that tumbler aside and I put all of the glitter back because now comes the messy part. I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to gently rub the glitter down. And this is what this is doing, is laying that glitter down completely. And the tack-it is grabbing a hold of that. So it's knocking off any of the excess glitter. And this makes a giant mess. I had glitter everywhere. I was a mermaid by the time this was done. But you want to make sure that you really knock it down. You don't want to press too hard because you could knock the glitter completely off and then you need to go fix it. And you don't want to do that because then you just wasted not only your glitter, but your time. So anyway, you'll see here in just a second, look how different that is from where the glitter is just laying on top of that tack-it as to where it's burnished down. Stunning. I'm talking stunning. And being on camera, you cannot really appreciate the gorgeousness of this, but you can see the difference. Look at that. How stunning. That holographic glitter is just stunning. So I'm going to speed this up so that I can get this done because this takes a little bit of time. And then I'm going to show you the difference here in just a second once I get this all done. because I did another tumbler where I just used it as just normal glitter. I mean, but I can't look at all that glitter just laying there. I mean, I hate to see that wasted, but I won't reuse that. I'll just toss it because I find that to be contaminated. So I just brush off anything excess. There's that again. Darn it, I'm so sorry. So then I just toss that away. And then roll up anything excess. Clean workspace. So here you can see the lid and the tumbler. Look how stunning this is. So here's the tumbler that I had done where it just, and this is where the inspiration came from. MJ saw this tumbler and wanted something very similar, but on my own spin on it. So I'm working on the lid now, and I had just attached this to a cup insert because I needed to be able to spin it. So I just taped the heck out of it. And then I had put, this is like a silicone pen adapter thing in the middle because I don't want to get epoxy down in it. So I'm going to epoxy the lid, I think right here. But I just stuck that down in the middle so that I don't get epoxy down in the middle. So this is just some pen adapter thing when you epoxy pens. I just thought it would fit perfectly down there, and it did. So here I'm mixing up my epoxy. I use Alumilite Amazing Clear Cast 1:1 ratio. So I just take a little bit on my finger and just run it around on there. You don't want it dripping off, so I did this, just going around and around the edges. And make sure that I get everything covered very nicely. And I was very careful around the middle because I didn't want to cake it around the, where the little straw hole thing is, because the least amount of cleanup I had to do around there, the best. So once I get enough epoxy on that, I just go ahead and take my torch and pop any bubbles, and then I do stick it on the end of my tumbler turner. So now I put 2 coats of epoxy. No, I only need to put 1 coat of epoxy on this, and then it was time to add the decals. So I had made some decals on my silhouette, and part of this I'm out of frame because I knocked on my camera. So some of this you might not see, but then parts of it you will. So I'm going to do my best to explain. Because of the lid, I knew that I had to bring the top decal down further. So I used this little, I think it's a 1/2 inch painter's tape. And I put the lid on, and I just went around and trimmed off part where I knew I wanted the actual decal to go down. So I just cut around to where I knew I needed it to be. So that where part of the decal was, of the elements that she wanted on this, that I didn't bring it up farther to where the lid, when it was screwed on, would hide it. And then it would be, in my opinion, ruined. So I just trimmed down that tape. So I'm using the tacket here again because she knew she wanted gold leaf on it. So she wanted peace symbols and then the Om symbol. So I just measured around the top, not thinking that this had a taper. So here was my mistake. I just measured around, not thinking about the taper. So I had to end up putting this around in pieces. So I had to cut out each of the little sections one by one and kind of piece it together so that it would make more sense and stay even going all the way around the top of the tumbler. And that way it wouldn't stay off course. It was more work for me, but in the end, it actually ended up working out. So I just went ahead and pieced it all going around, and I had to pretty much do the same at the bottom. This one, instead of doing it as it was on the tumbler or already pulled off, I went ahead, put the transfer tape on, and then cut it off beforehand, as I'm doing right here. So then I'm just going and placing these on one by one. And I wish I hadn't bumped my camera before that, but I did. So you kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm just sort of offsetting them a little bit just so that I get that curve of the tumbler to make more sense. And then I go in where some of those gaps are and take some of that masking tape and trim so that when I go in with the tack it at the next step, I won't mess up and go in between those places I don't want the tack it. So now I'm taking tack it now. Because I'm using gold leaf here, I went just straight with the tack it. I didn't water it down. And I'm just painting that tack it right on where that stencil is. And I'm doing a very thin coat, and I do 2 coats on the top and the bottom. And because it's such a thin coat, by the time I went around, it was already dry and I was able to go in with my second coat. Once completely dry, I took off the stencil of the bottom one. Wish I hadn't. And then I just went ham on the gold leaves. She wanted she didn't want the gold leaves to be completely smooth. She wanted some pieces to be chunky, to look more real gold, more realistic, very organic. So I just went ham and just started really putting gold leaf everywhere on here. Some of it I burnished down really well, and others I left chunky, if that makes sense. And then I did it the same at the top. The top I left the stencil on and then took it off afterwards once I got the gold leaf all the way put down. And you'll see that here as soon as I get it all done. I had gold leaf everywhere. So I'm removing the stencils now. And this was much easier than removing the stencils first and then putting the gold leaf down. And I do brush off any loose with a chip brush. Now I'm going in and removing the symbols. You can definitely see much better here. I think I realized that I was not on camera. So now I'm brushing away again. And then I thought I was recording and was not, and I did a center thing that says hate the sin, love the sinner. And then I decided to go ahead and add some gold leafing just at the top rim. So I just do 1 coat of the tack it and let that dry. And then I cut this lotus mandala, I don't know how you pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it. Out of holographic vinyl, and I'm just placing it in the center of that circle. And then I burnish that down. now I just go ahead and go ahead. That makes no sense. I went ahead and put the gold leaf around the edge, and I was not going for perfection here. I did notice that I missed a spot on the lid, so I just, with my finger, put it in those little spots and then put the gold leaf in those spots that I missed to fix that, or the tack it on my finger. You knew what I meant. And then heading back to the tumbler, I had cut out this little Buddha and placed it right in the, I had to put it on transfer or the parchment paper because I knew I was going to mess that up. So I used the parchment paper method and placed it right over. I did end up sealing this with 2 times rust-oleum clear spray. But before I did that, with my finger again, just took some tack it over and over my finger, just streaking on the back of it, and then a little skinny brush just to give it some more, and added some more gold leaf. This tumbler was already busy as it was. I did not want to add too much to make it almost gaudy. So I just added a little bit, brushed it off, then I sealed it. And here it is all finished. And I absolutely just love how this ended up coming out. And more importantly, MJ loved how it came out. She gave me a few things that she just had to have on it. And hopefully I hit it out of the ballpark for her. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you love this video, please give it a thumbs up. And everything that I used will be in the description box below. And if by chance you'd want your own custom tumbler, hit up my website or contact me. Speaking of my website, Stephanie Green and I will be live right here, April 5th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing a virtual craft show. Make sure to join us and see everything that we've got to offer. See you then. Bye, guys.